Hello and welcome to what's happening in John's shed. So today we're going to have a go at see if we can get some noise out of this old lass. I've got the carburetors on and bolted up. I've started filling the float chambers with petrol, so I'm just on with that now. It's a little bit crude, but I only want to just excitedly get it fired up. I'm like a bloody 3-year-old at Christmas. So I'm just putting some petrol in the float chambers so I can flood the carbs and get some juice around the old girl. It's about that. I think there's enough in these pipes to fire her up. I'm just put the lid on this petrol can and I'll be back in a second. Right, so got all the carbs built up, float chambers filled now, and put the plugs in. I tried some plug caps that I got and I couldn't get a spark, and I think there must be new ones because they're 10 ohm resistant and they didn't spark. So I put 2 old plug caps, in fact the ones that were on it when I got it, and there's a cracking spark with it now. So that's the petrol in. I haven't put the exhausts on because if I have to take them off again for whatever reason, it's a bit of a mess about, and it's just for this exercise. I think that's all right. So I've checked the contact breakers gap, filled the float chambers. I'll give it a little bit of choke on these slides. I'm not quite sure how much it'll need. I'll give it half. Just see if it'll. Yeah, that's flooded that one. Yeah, that's flooded that one. So stinky old petrol. So it's not in gear, is it? No, it's not in gear. So shall we give it a go? Right, ignition's on, and put the front brake on. Try it. Oh, nearly. Oh, flames. Well, there you are. I'm so pleased with that. Wasn't the first kick start, but I'm quite happy with that. It's running on both cylinders. They're both nice and warm, same temperature. It was almost ticking over then, wasn't it? The float chambers will be about empty now, but I'm well pleased with that. Well, I'm glad somebody can share that with me because it's an exciting moment after all that I've done on it, and it being an unknown quantity. So it's onwards and upwards. The oil pressure gauge was showing 50 psi there. I don't know if you can make it out while it was running, but 50 psi is brilliant, especially as it's an unknown quantity as far as the oil pump goes. It'll need reducing a bit. You're supposed to get it to running temperature, and as somebody kindly informed me earlier, I think the specification is that it's supposed to be about 30 psi, between 25 and 30 psi at approximately 30 miles an hour in top gear. So that's quite low revs, I would think. 30 miles an hour in top gear is perhaps only 3,000 revs. No, it wouldn't even be that, would it? So that's way too high at the moment. But it is on 2050 oil. It's not particularly warm today, but that's brilliant. So I'm really pleased with that. So I think while I've got the video running, I know it's only been running for 5 or 6 minutes, I'll put some more petrol in the float chambers and we'll see if we can get it to tick over. If I give that just a screw in, this side is a little bit more awkward to. I'm having to go the long way around because my tripod's in the way. Take my glove off. I'll give that a turn in just to get it somewhere in there, because I screwed those right out when I had it in bits. There's a bit of oil dripping out the rocker box gasket because there isn't a fit. I still haven't found them infernal gaskets. I bought 2 new ones from the club and they're in a safe place, and we all know how full these safe places must be. So I'll just get some more petrol. I haven't deserted you, I'm sorry it's not on camera, but it's a very basic way of doing it. Stick some petrol in here. My dogs are all coming out to see what I'm doing, and if the damn things hear me kick-starting this, they'll go ballistic. So I'll shut the door before we start again, because as funny as it is the first time, it wears thin after about 3 minutes of continually yapping from 3 dogs. They have it in their heads that, of course the Jack Russells, so they've got it in their heads that whatever it is making that noise needs to be killed. And Dottie, the youngest one, is quite good at attempted murder on engines, and she does my bloody head in. So just bear with me a moment. I'll shut the door to keep the dogs out, and I'll be back with you in a moment. Right, door shut, dogs out the way. You're perhaps hearing barking when I start again. Well, that was good. So I've took the choke right off this time. Now it's slightly warm, it shouldn't need too much. Just gives a little bit of flood. Yeah, there. And there. See? Right, ignition on. Let's see. Well, I'm very, very, very happy with that. I couldn't get it to tick over, so I'll just have to have a look at the mixture screws and that when I get everything a bit more together. I think I'll put the exhausts on loosely this time, just so my tinnitus is going to be wonderful tonight. By the time it goes nice and quiet in the house, my ears will be ringing like a church bell. Wonderful. But it was worth it, that. Yeah. Up to about 55 psi maximum. It just dropped slightly as it's getting warmer, so that's a good sign. I wanted, in fact I might do it if I can get this off in time. What I'll do is go around to the front with the engine running, and if I let the revs drop right down to low revs, when it was almost ticking over there, you can see the bob weights on the automatic advanced retard. You can see them out wide when it's revving, and as the revs get right down to almost tick over, you can see them all of a sudden go in, and you can hear the exhaust note change as it retards the ignition, which is exactly what it should do. And as I say, I actually saw it doing that as I was watching. I was just looking if the contact breakers were arcing or not, and they shouldn't, and they weren't, because I've put that new condenser on. I'm still not convinced about whether they are polarity sensitive. Somebody can perhaps tell me. It'd be interesting to know, wouldn't it? As I say, I'll put this on negative earth just to make it standard through everything I own pretty well. It's a better way, it's a better system. They changed a lot of vehicles in the late 60s, early 70s, and that's why a lot of the older cars have a big sign on them saying negative earth on them. My classic car does. It's in big letters, so it must have been a thing in the day. It doesn't do them a lot of good if you connect them up the wrong way. Fortunately, on a motorbike you haven't got such things as radios and that sort of thing that's very sensitive to polarity. But rectifier, regulator and condenser is pretty well it. I've moved everything up to 12 volts as well. Of course your battery determines the voltage of the system anyway, so if you put a 12 volt battery on and change all the things I've just said, your system becomes 12 volt. I've done it on many vehicles, and I've never had any problem. My old Triumph Tiger 100, I converted that, put a later alternator on it, and because the other one self-destructed, and a new battery, and made that the same 12 volt, and bingo, away she went. And that's 42 years, 40 odd years ago. Once upon a time. So I don't quite know how I'm going to do this for the best. I'll end up knocking it on the floor. What I'll do is, to excuse the camera work here, because I'm going to be doing 3 things at once. So if I switch the ignition on, I'm holding the camera with one hand,